Hi and welcome back. My name is Dina, and in this video we're going to introduce you to the mat work Pilates that we talked about in the first video. And I'm going to also show you how to find neutral posture. We're going to talk a little bit about why it's important and how to move through some of the Pilates movements with that neutral posture. Now, why is neutral posture important and what is neutral posture? To keep it simple, neutral posture simply means we are allowing the body to work in its natural state, meaning your spine, for example, has a beautiful natural curve to it. We want to work with that natural curve. Neutral posture for your joints means that we want to protect the joints by putting them in the place where they align the best and will work and function at its best. So for example, we want the neck, and we'll talk more about this as we get down to the mat, but the neck posture is important. Just to keep it simple, the neutral alignment will be where your ears are very gently placed over top of the shoulders. And when I say gentle, we don't want to overthink this process. We don't want to force the joints into something that is uncomfortable. Okay, so we're just gently pulling the ears over top of the shoulders. When it comes to the shoulders, because as we talked about before in the video before, the shoulders are very much considered part of the core. The core goes from here to the mid-thigh here. Okay, so the shoulders are part of that core movement. So when we talk about a neutral shoulder, we want those shoulders to be rolled into the sockets as they were meant to be. And so again, our society is quite rolled forward these days. It's really hard on the shoulder and the neck and spine. So if we roll the arm bones into the shoulders and we allow that openness to happen, okay, that is finding that neutral posture. We're not forcing it back. We're not rounding it forward. We're allowing that neutral posture. Okay, so find that posture and see what it feels like. Good. I am sitting in somewhat of neutral posture, which is hard to do when you're in the sitting position, but allowing for that natural curve in your spine is something that we're going to talk about as we get down to the floor a little bit more. And then also we'll talk about those hips and how to find neutral posture in the hips as well. So let's take a moment and get down to the floor, lying down on your back. Now, if you do live with chronic pain and you feel like you're more comfortable propping up your hips a little bit or finding a blanket underneath your lower back to allow for that natural curve to happen, please feel free to prop yourself up as you see fit. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about neutral posture on the floor. Head to toe. So the head posture simply means we're going to tuck the chin in towards the chest a little bit more. You'll start to feel the length in the back of the neck as you do that. You may also notice that there's a bump in the back of your skull where the spine and the back of the skull come together. All you're going to do is, without lifting your head, roll your head forward or tuck your chin in. You're going to get those double chins happening, and you'll notice that there's some more length across the back of the neck. This is the head posture. We've moved a little bit beyond the neutral posture, okay, so that we can lift the head safely. You'll notice I'm not allowing my head to fall back. I keep that chin tucked in just gently, and then we start to feel these thick muscles along the side here kicking in, okay, and then we lower back down. Good. All right, let's move on to the shoulders. We are going to allow those shoulders to try to find the floor beneath us. We don't force the shoulders back. We simply allow them to gently imprint or snuggle into the mat beneath you. And then that's where we are finding more of our neutral posture. If you were rolling your palms up towards the ceiling, good, you would feel like those shoulders start to find the floor a little bit easier. Moving on to the spine. So now in this position here, you'll notice that there is a little contact with your back ribs and your spine into the floor. We're going to allow that to stay put, okay? That's just working with your natural curve in your spine. You'll notice as we move a little further south into the lower back that there might be a little space between your back and the floor. And again, neutral posture simply means that we are close to the floor, but allowing for maybe a little bit of space. And then we move down into the pelvis and the hips here. Your pelvis is likely finding neutral posture already. By keeping your knees bent, we are allowing the hips to find the floor gently beneath us. If you were to stretch your legs long, you're going to notice that there's a little bit more space now between your low back, your mid back, and the floor. And that's simply because your pelvis has tilted slightly forward to accommodate the legs going long. We're just increasing awareness around how your body moves. This will all make sense very shortly. Let's now start to put together some movement to the joints, and we're going to play around with the neutral posture again. Okay, so we already moved with the head. Just a reminder, before you lift your head, you roll on that bump in the back of the skull and you tuck your chin in and then release. Try it again. Roll on that bump in the back of the skull and tuck your chin and release. One more time. So you're coming in and out of neutral with your neck. Tuck the chin, good, and release. Okay, we're going to add to that. Tuck the chin in one more time, lengthen the back of the neck by rolling forward on that bump in the back of the skull. And just like you did before, you're going to take a breath in. You're going to exhale and lift the head and shoulders up off the ground, keeping that head posture. Inhale, come on back down. You just did your first abdominal exercise. Exhale, tuck the chin, lift the head and shoulders. Now, if your neck is not happy with this, you are welcome to bring one or two hands behind the back of the head and you tuck your chin and you lift and you lower. If that range of motion is uncomfortable, you can just lift the head and shoulders. You don't have to involve the lower ribs if you don't want to, and that will still engage those core muscles in the front. Okay, let the head and shoulders rest down to the floor and let those arms come down alongside. We're going to move into the ribs a little bit more. We're going to allow those ribs to reach towards the ceiling, creating a little more space between your back ribs and the floor. And then you're going to settle those ribs into the floor as you push gently into the floor beneath you. Then you allow those ribs to reach towards the ceiling, creating space. And then you start to settle your ribs into the floor. Okay, one more time. Reach the ribs up, create a little bit of space, and then come back down. Now you'll notice as you're moving through this that your hips, of course, being attached, also wanted to move. So we're going to focus on the hip movement next. If you are completely relaxed, you are finding that neutral posture. We're going to go just a little bit beyond that. Now, you're going to tuck your tailbone under. Another way to think about this is if you had a tail and you were to take your tail and put it in between your thighs and continue to pull that tail up towards your nose, that would be tucking your tailbone under. As you do that, you start to feel the back ribs and your low back finding the floor a little bit more so. Let's try and go in the opposite direction. Now you're going to take your hip bones here, your pelvis, and you're going to tilt it forward. You're going to start to feel the back and the ribs pulling away from the floor, creating space underneath you here. Tuck your tailbone under, start to feel the floor beneath you. Go in the opposite direction, good, and start to create space between your back. Okay, tuck it under and tilt it forward. Good, see if you can rock your pelvis here, forward and back, and see what range of motion your body allows you to do. Let's try and couple the breathing with the movement. You're going to inhale as you create that space underneath. Exhale as you close the gap between your back and the floor. Inhale as you create that space between the back, tilting your butt forward. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under. One more time. Inhale. and exhale. Good. Now, we're going to add another movement to this. The first thing we do when we set you up for a movement in Pilates is we focus on your center and we set that up first. So let's talk you through this. Take a breath in. As you exhale, see if you can take your belly button and pull it in towards you. Now, this is a bit of a concept that takes some time to get used to. And then release. Another way you can think about connecting your lower abdominals is by visualizing that your belly button has a rope on the inside of your body. So if you have your belly button and then you have a rope connected to the inside of your belly button, and you were to pull on that rope and you're pulling the belly button in towards your spine, and then you release. Okay, take a breath in. Exhale, pull that belly button in with that pretend rope. Your belly button starts to come in towards your body, and then you release. Try it again. Inhale. Exhale, pull that belly button in. As you exhale, inhale, release. Good, try it again. Inhale. Exhale, pull the rope on that belly button as you feel that belly button coming in. Good. You can even put your hands there and see if you can feel that connection. Inhale and exhale. As you pull the rope, you start to feel the floor a little closer to your back and your ribs, and then you release. Okay, let's take a little break there and stretch those legs long. And see if you can also match the legs with the arms. Now, if your shoulders will not allow you to do this, only go to where you feel those shoulders will allow you to go. Same thing with the spine. If you feel like your back is a little tight here, you're welcome to bend your knees a little bit or do one at a time. Okay, as I promised, we're going to introduce some movement to this. Take a nice deep breath in. Before we go anywhere, we set you up first. We exhale and we pull the rope on the belly button. So you get that pulling in here and you feel that closeness with the floor. Good. Inhale, stay where you are. Now, as you exhale, can you lift your left heel off the ground? Feel your belly button working. Inhale, place that heel back down. Good. Exhale, lift the right heel this time, just off the ground. Feel those lower abdominals start to pull in. Good, and relax. Let that foot come down. And just lift the heel and lower it back down. Lift the other heel and lower back down. Good. Keep your breath moving. I'm going to talk you through the breath in just a moment. If this feels good, stay with this. If you feel like you're not wanting to go any further, then that's completely fine. If you feel like you can challenge yourself a little bit more, let's take it one step further. Take a breath in, let those heels settle into the floor. Exhale as you start to pull the belly button in, you start to feel the floor very gently beneath you, nothing forced. Inhale once again before you go on. And this time you're going to exhale, you're going to float the heel, and then you're going to float the foot up off the ground just to rest that knee over the hip. And then you're going to inhale and slowly lower that foot back down, keeping your ribs connected to the floor. Take a breath. Now we're going to take the exhale and the heel lift and the knee lifts up. Inhale, come on back down, keeping your ribs very gently finding the floor beneath you. Try it again. Inhale. Exhale, pull the belly button in, float the knee to tabletop. Inhale, lower back down, keep those ribs finding the floor beneath you. Take a breath before you go. Exhale, lift the heel and then the knee. Good, keep that lower abdominal staying in strong. Inhale to lower back down. Good job. Take the arms out to the side, glue your knees together. Inhale, take your knees gently over to one side. Exhale to come back to center. Inhale, take it to the other side. Exhale, bring it back. Keep going. Inhale, take it to one side. Exhale, bring it back. One more time. Inhale, take it over. Exhale, come back. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to do 3 of the classical Pilates moves that you can practice and gain confidence and strength in before we move you on to any of the other exercises. Thank you so much for listening and for watching in and for giving it the old college try. We'll see you on the next video.